Welcome to the Happy Soul Podcast. My name is Melissa, and this is Sammy. We are diving deep into conversations that connect and inspire. Stories of resilience, triumph, and transformation. Stories that take us to the heart of human connection. Please note that opinions of our guests do not necessarily reflect those of this podcast. Please listen with your kindness and an open mind. Each story shared is authentic and vulnerable. Let's embrace our differences with empathy, knowing every voice enriches us. Together, let's cultivate a community of respect and curiosity. Thank you for listening. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired.
Welcome to the Happy Soul Podcast, everybody. It's Melissa and I today, and we are doing an impromptu banter. And the reason, so typically what this episode was supposed to be was our Earth miniseries wrap-up. And in light of today, we are changing it. And it is... Yeah, pivot is a solid pivot. I'll give you my pivot mug. It's here. It is because today we are at the celebration of life for a dear friend. And I say dear friend, I haven't seen her in years. So like that's almost feels almost wrong of me to say, but like she felt close in my heart. She felt like a big sister to me. And it just, there were so many things that came up about her. And so we actually wanted to do this episode in memory of her, in honor of her. And just her memory. And we saw so many people today that were part of our lives when she was a big part of our lives. And we just really wanted to share a whole bunch of stories about Kyla Boruck and all of the people associated with Gitter's Pub and Donna and everybody. And a big piece of this is, you know, I feel like all these incredibly beautiful things are said about somebody when they pass away. And we forget to say those wonderful things to those people when they're alive. And sometimes we do say those things to those wonderful people, and that's awesome. But I know that I could have told Kyla more often how wonderful and full of light she was. And there's all these other people today that I was seeing, and I was like, I would love to tell you this moment that we had together growing up, or not growing up, when we were younger, that stuck with me and like was impactful to me and how much it meant to me. And I would love to tell you how much you meant to me, even though I don't see you anymore. But it wasn't really the right time for that. And so I'm like, I really want to hold today to speak about Kyla and Donna and Gitters and honor her and honor Gitters and honor the light and love and all this amazing stuff that Kyla brought to the world. And I also want to speak about other people that we totally have a podcast today, and they were all excited about it. And I didn't tell them these things. And so I really hope that you hear these things. If you do choose to listen, not for my sake, but for your sake, because I have lots of lovely things I'd love to say about some of you. So that's my intro.
Lovey-dovey. I like it.
I'm so full of love
I like it. You're exploding of love today.
Yeah. I'm turning red. I'm so full of it.
You know, one thing I have to say, though, is like the one person that would say all the things is Kyla. Mm-hmm. Like, how many times did you hear her tell people that she loved them? Mm-hmm. Like, she was like, right? She would do that. I love you. I love you. You can just hear her voice. I love you. I love you. Yeah. So just a little backstory for, I mean, this is for us and it's for our Gitters people and they're going to know who we are. But like, so Sammy, you and I have talked lots about how we bartended together in the past. And we talked about like when we first met, and Kyla was the co-owner of the pub that we were bartending in. And Gitters was a place that was, it's like people used to compare it to Cheers, I think. And so it was our small town pub, and it was a music pub, and it was mother and daughter who opened up this pub. And the one thing that really stood out to me today, and it's something that you and I've talked about lots before, Sammy, but the fact that these two women, they got together, they made this thing, they called it Gitters after Kyla used to call her guitar her Gitter. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it was called Gitters. And I used to get so mad when people would be like, Gitters, get her done. I'm like, that's not why it's called that.
No, it's not get her done. It's a guitar. Get over it.
It's a guitar. Anyways, but one thing that is abundantly clear before for us, or it was clear for us before, but abundantly clear today, was that Donna and Kyla brought people together and they created community. Mm-hmm. And that community has stuck. Like Doug and I talked after the funeral today about how Gitters was open for what, 6 years?
It opens in 2007. It opened in 2007 and it flooded in 2013. So 7 years.
It's been 12 years.
6 years. I can't do math. 6 years. You're right. 6 years. Jesus Christ. Okay. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. Holy crap. Okay, anyways, but like, can you believe it's been 12 years since it closed?
No.
Like, it feels like it was open for forever, and it feels like, I don't know if it feels like less than that or more than that since it closed, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, we walked in today and that community stuck.
Yeah.
Those two women, they brought people together and they stayed together, or they are able to come back together. Like, they created a really special community of people. People got married. People learned how to play music. People went on completely different life courses, all because these two women got together and created this music pub. And it was a gathering place for musicians and people who loved music and people who just wanted to go have a good time. And it just was something really special. And you could see that specialness today. Because we got in there and you and I were both like, holy smokes, look at all these people. And everybody was together. People, like, we had somebody fly in, fly in from Nova Scotia. Like, I mean, what? That is so incredible. And that was like, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. Randy, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they met through the pub.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
All these people that know each other, and that life just took it. Anyways, I'm off on some weird tangent, but
no, I agree
the
with you,
backstory.
And I'd be interested to like talk to everybody and find out how many people knew Kyla before the pub and how many people became attached to her at the pub. Like they were so, like you were family. And that's the one thing I was thinking about Kyla is like, I remember when they hired me, and I think I told this story on a different Gitters episode that we released, that I was like hungover in the same clothes from the night before for my interview. And at the end of the interview, so I don't think Kyla was there for the interview. I think it was Donna and her general manager at the time who like was just there to help her shift over and then kind of left. But I'm not in a bad way, like it was good. But after that interview, like when I stood up, I remember standing up and Donna stood up and gave me this really big hug and was like, I can't wait to hire you. And like, and then apparently later the general manager was like, you should probably wait till we've decided that we're hiring the person before you do that. But she just gave me this hugging. Yeah. And I was like, oh great. I guess I made a good impression in my unbrushed teeth and my party clothes from the night before. Great.
She's like, I think this girl's hungover. This is the girl.
Showed up to the interview anyways. Hello.
And
then I remember like working with Kyla, like and it was like once I can't say that she decided she liked you. I think she mostly liked everybody. But once she decided she liked you, like you were family. And she was like,
yes,
she was like the protective big sister. Then she was like, Donna became my third mom. And I say third because I already had a mom and a stepmom. She was my third mom. And Kyla was like a big sister. And it's just like, I wish I could take all the feels I have in my heart right now for Kyla and Donna and like let Donna feel them. Like I just wish I could be like, can you just feel how much love I have right now? Because there's so much for you. And I've done a shitty ass job at like staying in touch and letting her know how important she was and is to me, even though I haven't seen her in years outside of the odd bump ins like today. I mean, today wasn't a bump in, but the odd times I've bumped into her and I'm like, every time I see her, I'm like, I really want to try to see her more. But then I also feel like, but I don't know what to do. And that's a terrible reason to not do something. And so I do need to do better. And that's my goal coming out of today. But I just think like I have so much. And for me, I was thinking about this on my drive back home today. I don't know if it was like this for you, but it was like this for me because I came out of high school and I had friends in high school and there was like one of them who I was really close to in high school and like we stayed close going through school. But at that time she had gone off to university. And so like I didn't have any friends in town. Everybody, all of my friends had left university. For my 18th birthday, I spent by myself because, not by myself. I had a friend. He did stay. But anyways, point being, I started working at the pub. Like I turned 18 in April 2007. And I started working at the pub in May. Like before I had graduated high school. And like those are like formative years in like your connections, your bonds, your relationships. So like Kyla and Donna and Jeff and Randy and Rick and Sue.
Chance
and Max. God, I'm forgetting somebody, Paul, and I'm like, I'm going to throw names out later because I wrote them all down earlier so I wouldn't forget. And now I'm like,
Do you say Dylan?
I love Dylan, but I didn't know him till later. I didn't like hang out with him a lot, but he's such a sweetheart. He's such a sweetheart.
So sweet.
But those are the people that are coming to mind right now. And like those people, like, especially like, and then Kyla and Donna, like they just like, and I know you too, but you're still here. So this is different.
I never shook you. Never got rid of you.
No, yeah, I just stuck around.
Started off hating you. Now we talk all the time.
Yeah, I tried.
Now you're stuck with
and
me.
all the people I liked, so they're gone. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Get out of here. Bring the rest on.
Give me the person I didn't like. Thanks a lot, universe.
Yeah, Jesus. All of them, like they were like family in that time for me. Like I spent every weekend with them. I went on weekend trips with them. Like I spent because Sue was with Randy at the time. And then we'd all go snowboarding together. We'd go on snowboarding trips together. We would spend multiple car rides to go to snowboarding trips for them. Like you'd spend the whole day together, multiple weekends in a row through the winter. And in the summer, it was just like parties all the time. And it was, but I was in those years, I had nobody else. It was just them. And I was like forming my opinions of the world, basically, right? Like I was out of home and living on my own. And so for me, like they're all such important people to me. And in this like big brother way. And I think of them and love them so fondly, but I don't ever talk to them. But anyway, so like Kyla, I totally tangent there, but Kyla was like, go there later.
It's okay.
Kyla was like, she was my big sister and she stood up for me so many times and she just had my back. And I said this today to Donna and I said it to somebody else too, but there's lots of memories of Kyla, but most of them are like, there's nothing to describe about them. It was just like bartending with Kyla. Oh my God. Okay, this is what I was about to say. But bartending with Kyla, like prior to you and I getting really good at bartending together, like Kyla was the dream person to bartend with because she was so fucking good at bartending and you'd be like, I need this. And she'd always had it. And it was like magic. And then when she wasn't working there so much, you and I became like that. But it was just magic. And there's a couple of stories that I specifically remember about Kyla. Because Kyla's taller than me, and I'm a pretty tall person. And everybody always assumed we were sisters. And that Donna was my mom. Like, people would walk into that bar every single day, and they would say, "Where's your mom?" And for the first while, I was like, I don't know.
You know my mom?
You know my mom? What? And then we'd have a back and forth for a bit, and then they'd be like, Donna. And I'd be like, oh, she's not my mom.
Oh, that mom.
That's not my mom. She's like my getter mom, but she's not my mom. And anyways, but I remember, so 2 stories quickly I want to share about Kyla. Was one of them was it was a Halloween. It was a quieter Halloween. And some people walked in that side bar door, and Kyla was bartending. And there was like, I don't know, 5 of them, I think. And she noticed that one of them brought a beer bottle in with them. And she was like, you can't have that in here. Like, I can't serve you. You have your own beer. And the guy took the beer bottle and whipped it at her. And she ducked and it hit the wall behind her. And she pops up and like, she was rage. She was like, GTFO. And those dudes just like booked it out of the pub. Which was pretty great.
I could just see her face. Like, you don't fuck with this girl.
No.
Sorry, Mom.
No, right? She's like, yeah. Yeah, and then the other one, which I was telling someone today, was, again, I have so many of her playing and singing and working together, but they're harder. Like, there's so many of those ones, I can't narrow them down.
Yeah.
But the other one was like her having my back. Was I had dated this guy, and I can't remember if we had broken up yet or we were close to breaking up. I don't remember. But he came in and he was getting mad at me about something. I mean, I remember what it was, but I'm not going to say what it was. He was getting mad about me about something, and it was totally made up in his brain. It wasn't really happening. And he was yelling at me from across the bar, and he like leans on the bar. He's like, I get it. And she reaches over that bar and she grabs his whole shirt in her hand and she pulls him up over the bar. And she was like, basically like, you're making fucking shit up. You're ridiculous. This is not your fucking problem. Like, don't you treat her like that. And like threw him backwards. Like, he didn't fall backwards, but like hard enough that he ended up back on his feet. And he was mad and left. And I was like, thank you very much. Thank you.
I have met my people.
Yeah, yeah. And I was so happy when she did that, you know? Yeah. So like that was the kind of person she was, is she had your back.
and she created like her and Donna and Chance and like and Dion, like they created around them a community that also did that. Because I was just coming into the picture when that happened, and I remember people coming to bat for you and me being like, holy shit, like what have I walked into? And it was the same, like that characteristic, that like protectiveness, that like we are a family and you are welcome. Like she says it in the song.
So grab a seat and sit on down, 'cause friends are welcome when they come around. Sing along if you know the songs to the guitar picking of the old country song all night long.
But she says in the song, like, everybody is welcome here. And you're right. Like, she had this way of being. And I think really that is a testament to her and to her family. You think about Dean, you think about Donna, Deanna, like and Chance, like the way that they welcome you in is so, it's with such warmth. It's with such like, I don't know how to, I'm looking for the right word, but it is like, you're all in.
Yeah.
Like when you're welcomed into that family, you're all in.
Yeah.
And they will, like, have you ever
I might cry
met a
recording
bigger
this.
Oh my God. I
Just love them so much.
Like if we're going to make Sammy cry, that's a big deal, y'all. But do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean, because I know you felt it, but
You do.
there was something so authentic about it and something so pure about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a bigger cheerleader than that woman?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if anybody was going to cheer you on and like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, you're going to do it. You're going to do it, babe. Like, she would come in and anybody could come in and say, hey, I just bought this guitar and I've never played before. And they'd be like, come and sit at the table. Let's all learn together.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, the amount of people that we've seen come in there that learned how to play and that are now playing in bands or, right? Like, it's just, it really was and is a magical thing. And by the way, I told Donna today, I was telling her about all of this, about how, you know, what you guys built created this community and we're stuck together. I said, look, you see that girl? And I pointed at you. I'm like, she didn't even like me. I said, and now look at, like, we're just stuck together. Our kids are best friends. Like, she didn't even like me before you brought us together. You did that.
True.
Right?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing to see so many people today and to just, you'd think going into something like that, like I suck at small talk. Like I get like all clammed up and I'm like, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm a little stuck. But I didn't feel like that today. Like I just felt like it was like we were just walking right back into it. Like we just didn't skip a beat. So we're missing a very valuable person in there. Like, you know, just.
Yeah. I want to say something and then I want to paint a picture of Gitters.
Yes, please.
I want to say to your tune, what you're talking about it being welcoming is I remember, I like this was like a vague memory in my brain until you just started talking about this. But I remember like coming fresh out of high school, you might have a group you fit into, but you know, like in high school, it's like if you're not in the group that you fit into, like it's this really awkward, like people aren't super welcoming, like you have to get a good person that's aware of the situation to welcome you into the group, right? Like, and I was just coming out of high school and I never really felt like I fit in lots of different groups in high school. But I remember coming to the pub and I remember very vividly, like it's like a fuzzy memory in my brain, but the feelings from it are very vivid. And it was like, it was after the bar had closed. It was after the bar had closed. And I don't remember. I'm pretty sure Randy was there. Paul,
like for the night closed,
closed
or
for the night.
forever closed?
No, closed for the night. Closed for the night. It was very early on in my working there. Like I'm not even sure I had graduated high school yet when this happened. yeah, it had closed for the night. I think Randy was there. I'm pretty sure Jocelyn, she was the original GM, was there. Maybe 2 or 3 other people. I don't remember who specifically, but I remember it was like, oh, we're closing, and they were sitting there having like their drinks while I was closing up around them. Like Kyla was like, close the bar, we'll just sit here. And so like I was like, well, I'm here to do my job. Like I cleaned up and I cashed out and I did all the things and I was done. And Kyla was like, come sit with us. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm like your brand new barely 18-year-old person you just hired. These are all your friends and you want me to come sit with you? And she was like, yeah, you're not going. Come sit. Like it wasn't like you should come. It was like, you must come. You are coming. Come meet these people. Like that was how she was. It wasn't like a polite invite. It was like, no, you are part of us now. Come. There was no like this like, oh, I feel bad for them. Come visit. It was like, no, you come. You are part of us now. Come. And I just remember feeling very awkward that night, only because like I didn't know anybody and I was so much younger than everybody. But they didn't make me feel awkward. It was just me figuring out my place with these people. Yeah. And that was just how she was. And I'm just like, yeah. And I hope she can hear this. I don't know what I believe in terms of that kind of stuff, but I hope she knows. I hope she knows, and I hope she knew how much she was loved and how much of a light she was in the world and how important she made people feel, I should say. You know?
I think that is the greatest thing you could say about her, is how important she made people feel. Like when you just said that, I just got full goosebumps because I was like, yes, that is it. That is it. There was something magical about her, and it was how important she made people feel.
Yeah.
I mean, like all of the things, but that right there, I think if you said that sentence to every person that's ever met her, everybody would agree.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to paint a picture of Gitters because like, I think if you've never been, and if you've never had a small town pub that made it feel like family, like I remember, like, so the pub, you know, there's the front door and you walk in and there's the stage to your, so if you're walking in the front door, right, there's the stage to your left, and then there's like the corner booth seats to your right that go all the way around that side of the wall, and there's that back wall, and then you got like booth seats here and then like tables up the middle. And then behind that back wall, there's like a little bar seat, and there's a door also that goes outside, and then the bar stools at the bar. And so it wasn't a big pub. I think it sat maybe 100 people. I think 100 was the seating capacity. And when it first opened, they were open during the day. I don't think it was, Sundays they were closed. Mondays, I think they were open. Tuesdays, they were open all day. Wednesdays, they were open all day. Thursdays, they were open all day. And by like all day, I mean 11 till close. They were open all day. And when I first started working there, I was hired. I worked Tuesdays from 11 until 2, I believe. So I'd do the lunch hour shift. So I'd open the bar, do the lunch hour, and then I would go home and I would start again at 5, and I'd work 5 till close. And then Wednesdays, I usually had off, I believe. And then Thursdays, I would do the same. And Fridays, I didn't start till 5, and I would work Friday till close. And then Saturdays was open. And then Saturdays, I can't remember Saturdays if I worked earlier or if it was just, because eventually Saturdays they didn't open till 2. And then, but I don't remember if that was always or just from the start. But because some days on Saturdays you'd work 2 till 2, like that was your shift. Yeah, but you were like, when I came in on those Tuesdays for the first while, like it was just me. I was the bartender and the server. And then there was a cook for a while, Susan, and she was a lovely cook, and she did cooks, and she special. I don't remember how long that went on for. For me, that felt like a very long time, but I think it was only the first year maybe that Susan was there. And she was the cook, and she always had these lovely recipes, and so every day there would be a different special. But you had these regulars, and like they would come in, and I mean, obviously it took me a bit to get to know everybody, but like we've talked about before, like they just walked in the door, and we knew what they wanted, and it was being made before they asked for it, and a refill was being done before they asked for it, and we knew each person is like, how many refills are they going to have before we need to ask if they want the next one? Do you know what I mean? Like it was just, you knew that. And there were some people that they had so many you couldn't count. And there were some people that it was only 1 or 2. But
we also knew everybody's capacity.
We
knew when we needed to start watering it down.
Yeah. But it was just like, even today, you know, like the amount of people who were like, oh my gosh, they'd see us and they're like, our Gitters girls, like you are our Gitters girls, like you should be behind the bar here, like you're the, you know, and it's like, it's not, you aren't just the bartenders at a pub. You are family when everybody walks in that door. And and then Tuesdays eventually changed into, they had Mama's Kitchen every night. And so eventually they weren't open during the day. It was just, they opened up later. And it was Mama's Kitchen. And that was, actually for a while, Wednesdays was Guitar Hero night. And I hosted Guitar Hero night. It was just a very short stint.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but Tuesdays were Mama's Kitchen. Wednesdays we did Guitar Hero for a very short period of time. And then Thursdays was open mic night. Fridays was always a band. Saturdays was a band for a while. Like, it was always a band for a little while. And then eventually I think it became open mic as well.
It did. It was an afternoon open mic.
Afternoon
like
open
an
mic.
Earlier one.
Yeah.
So like Thursday was evening open night, and then Saturday was like
at daytime.
I think they started at like 3 or something.
Yeah. But when I started there, it was bands on Saturdays and Fridays and Saturdays. And it's this tiny little bar, right? So you're in this like tiny
Hair of the Dog Jam.
Hair of the Dog. Hair of the Dog.
Sorry, it was Hair of the Dog Jam.
Hair of the Dog, yeah. And it's just like, I don't know how to describe it. I wish if I was really good with words, like just describing the feeling of walking in, like when you walk in home and everybody's there. You know, like, and Mama's Kitchen
singing
was
you
like,
a song.
Singing you a song. Live music is playing. Even the musicians, if they knew you, would acknowledge you when you walked in the door. Like, it was like, I don't know. And like, you know, for Mama's Kitchen, like, the goal of Mama's Kitchen was for people to come and learn to play. It wasn't to be a good player. It is for anybody, whether you've been playing for forever or you've never played before. It was come and sit and we'll help you learn. And there was people who didn't really know how to play when they started coming to Mama's Kitchen, and by the time they were done, they were playing on stage with everybody else.
Yeah.
And
and we saw people, you know what I think is really cool is that we saw really young people coming in, like freshly 18 coming in, just learning. We saw people who were retired who'd always wanted to learn how to play guitar, and they would come in and be sitting right next to the music teacher from across the street. And there was no judgment. Nobody was like, ugh. There was no judgment. It was like whether you were 18 or 75 and you were learning or you'd been playing your whole life, they all sat together. And the cool thing about Mama's Kitchen I loved so much was they sat together all, nobody was on stage. They'd all sit together, and it was so cool because it was like, you know, how many people we're going to have tonight? I don't know. Start with this circle. And it was like, oh, come on in. We make the circle bigger. And on really big Mama's Kitchen nights, it would be like the whole pub was just like one big circle of people. Nobody was sitting at a table not in the circle. Like it was a whole big circle of people playing, and they would all take turns leading what song they were singing. And then they would just start playing along and like harmonizing with each other. And it's just, like, it's just so cool. I would love to
go back in time.
Oh, yes.
Oh
I
God.
mean,
if there was a time machine and I was going back somewhere to revisit and get
could
love,
you do it now though?
Well,
without a time machine, could you be like, yeah, I'm going to work 2 to 2 tonight?
I don't know. I mean, not if I didn't have kids, maybe.
That first night, I worked till like 3 a.m. and I thought I was going to throw up. Like, I was like, I am the worst at this job. I'm going to throw up. Like, I was sick. I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to hack this. Like, it is long and you are on your feet the whole time. Like, I mean, I've had people, well, you worked at the Stampede, right? Because you have people come, this is not a slam, but you have people come in from like a big city bartending job. And I'm not saying, I've never worked a big city bartending job. I don't know what it's like, but you have people come in and be like, oh, well, it's just this little place. Well, yeah, it's just this little place. But you work in the city, you're in charge of your, 3, 4, 5 tables. You have a very specific outline of like, this is what I'm doing for these 5 tables. You work in a little place like this, you're working 3 p.m. till 3:00 a.m. You do not get a break to sit down. Nobody's coming to take over. You're in charge of all of the tables.
That 100%.
It was a lot of work.
100% capacity. That's on you. The only time there was ever 2 servers on, like if you were working, there was a bartender. There was a bartender and there was a server. And the bartender would handle the front bar people generally, and everybody else was the server's job. And so if that bar was full, which it was, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, that bar was always full. Well, I shouldn't say always. Like 80% of the time, that bar was full. And so you were, that 100 seat capacity, you were serving all of them on your own. And when I worked at Ranchman's for one stampede, and it was albeit one of the quietest stampedes they'd ever had, but like I remember I was like, hey, they were like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to keep up in this fast-paced environment, and I was like, okay, well, I think I can. And because I remember in my interview, they were like, how much do you usually cash out at the end of the night? Like what are your big cash outs? And I don't remember the number now, but I remember like I told the number because they knew I was working at like 100-person pub, and I told them the number, and they were like, by yourself? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, okay. And because you don't work that in a big city bar. Like I remember working at Ranchman's. I'll tell 2 quick stories. Not that these are Gitters related, but it's to promote the Gitters is why I'm telling these stories. One of them was I had like this one row. I think it was like 3 or 4 tables, and whatever, I was serving them and it was fine. And one of my people walked over to a different server's area, but it was like the one next to mine. And I had walked down my row to get orders, and I was walking around hers to go back to the bar. And the dude who I had served, who had been at my other table, had asked me for another drink. And I was like, of course, like I'm your server, I will get you a drink. And I got him a drink. And I brought him the drink, and I think he gave me like a loony tip or whatever. And like that, a manager was at me like, you need to, where's your section? And I told her, she's like, you need to stick to your section. And I was like, I did. She's like, did you serve that man right there? I was like, yeah, but he was in my section before. She's like, well, he's not now. And I was like, I don't want the tip. She can have it. I was just trying to give the dude good service. This was not about me. This was about me trying to serve. And so I walked up to the waitress who was mad at me, and I said, you can have the loony. I was just trying to help the dude. And then another time,
my God.
Yeah. And then another time I had like a 3-table spot, and I was so bored. I was so bored because I was like, can I serve other people? And I was not allowed to serve other people. I was just like, I was so bored.
You're like, what the fuck? I'm so used to all these people.
You're so used to walking this whole thing, and you would go from that first table, and so you're like I don't know, there's probably 4 tables here, 4 or 5 here, and then there was like 5 or 6 in the middle, and then the 2 big ones or 3 big ones on the side.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 in the corner. It depends if they push the tables together or not.
Yeah.
In the center, because the center one sometimes became one great big long table.
Totally. But you would start, and you would start asking orders, and you would remember all the orders and then you'd go to the side, and then you'd do the middle, and you would get everybody's order before you came back to put it into.
And you're not writing it down.
No, you're not writing it down. You just remember it.
Like, I remember Donna taking me through and being like, okay, I think you're ready to do this without the paper. Like, you're allowed to have the pen and paper when you start, but you need to get to the point where you're not having a pen and paper. And I was like,
and goodness gracious, now they have tablets.
Wah, fuck.
Like, they don't even
cheating assholes.
They don't have to remember one table's orders. They just punch it in as they're doing it,
and it just goes through.
It just goes to the back. And I'm like,
cheaters.
Here's the thing. Okay, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. We're going to talk about Gitters. I'm not going to rant about that. But like, that's like saying that like that sounds like it was so horrible, but like, no, like it was, imagine how much, like,
great.
It was so great. And the amount of conversations you got to have with people, like you,
yeah.
Like I remember, going to that front table, asking their order. And for whatever reason, I was walking right back to the register to bring it in. And I literally took a step away, and I like came right back. I was like, yeah, guys, you gave me your order, and I went this way, and your order went that way. And we got to do this again. Sorry. But there was like maybe they didn't like that. I don't know. But there was a connection to have with those people instead of what would you like? Yes. What would you like? What would you like? Do you know?
Yeah.
And there's like, you're building this connection with the people and, like, and all of the customers, like, I shouldn't say all of, most of the customers were really, really wonderful. There was the odd challenge. Like, and I was our bouncer most of the time, which was great. I mean, Kyla was the bouncer.
Oh, man.
Actually, Kyla was the bouncer, but when Kyla wasn't there, I was the bouncer.
And you know what else? Like her, I mean, the two of them, I mean, her and Donna both. I mean, we're talking about Kyla, but the two of them they were such like I said that earlier about what cheerleaders they were. But like you got done at the end of a shift and you never would get done at a shift and be like, yeah, see ya. Mm-hmm. It was always like, hey, that was awesome. Do you want to come sit and have a drink? Like you did so good today. Like, wow,
You
were
deserve
on
it.
fire.
Come take a break.
Like they were so just, they just made you feel so good and feel like you were doing something important and doing something, I don't know, worthy of praise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they like the way that they would introduce you and the way like they were proud of us. Mm-hmm. She was proud of us, which was so cool. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I don't know. I just think
I feel like she was the original work-life balance boss too.
Oh,
like she wasn't like, this is your shift. She was like, get it covered, do whatever you want. You know, like I remember when I wanted to travel, she was like, just tell me ahead of time. I'll schedule people around you. If I accidentally give you a shift, just get it covered. Mm-hmm. It was never, and so much so that sometimes if somebody couldn't cover it, depending on what kind of day of the week it was, like she would do it. And we didn't do it very often. And the thing is, we didn't do it often because we didn't want to take advantage of her. We only did that if we really needed to for something.
Mm-hmm. And by the time I came into the picture, she was working less. Like she'd gone more into insurance at that time, but she...
Oh, Kyla?
Yeah. But she would come in on the special occasions. Mm-hmm. And then it would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Yeah. I remember, because I like talking about bartending with Kyla. Like I remember how much
I didn't get that very often.
Okay. So I loved bartending with Kyla. Like when Kyla bartended, she would always be like, no. And it wasn't about the money. It was about her thought process behind it. She would always be like, nah, you take more tips than me. Like here, you worked harder than me. You take this piece. And it wasn't about the money. It was about her mindset of like, I hired you. You're my staff. You worked really hard. You do this, not me.
Donna was like that too.
Yeah, and Donna was like that too. Donna didn't want tips. She was like, I own the bar. I don't need the tips. You know,
Wild.
like it was always just like, it's not about me, it's about you. It's not about me, it's about you. You know, and I think that's missing a lot in the world today. Is like I'm the owner and it's coming back. I think it's coming back, but yeah, they were the original like we're the owner, we make the sacrifice kind of people. Like they were.
They wanted us to be happy in our life. And they like, you know, like they were both just like so cheering us on in general. But they wanted us to be happy working there too. Like they cared about what we thought. They, you know, they wanted us to be excited to come to work and happy to be coming to work. And
yeah, they were the best. I don't even know what else to say because I could just sit here talking about how they were the best forever and ever, but that's not really
warm
a great podcast episode. That's just,
that's just for you, Donna.
That's just for you, Donna.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
and I mean, I don't want to speak poorly. That's not speaking poorly about anybody. I just really wanted to highlight Kyla there and Donna too. But like, yeah, she was just my mom. Eventually, I was like, yeah, Donna. And people were like, where's your mom? I'd be like, she'll be here later. Like, I wouldn't even.
Eventually just caved in.
Mom. She just is my mom. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just caved in.
But like you were saying before, like Gitters and the community they created, like those people, you know. So Sue was the other bartender when I worked there, who had carried over from when it was from the other owners, and so there was Jocelyn and Sue.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Jocelyn and Sue worked at when it was Dudley's.
Did not know that.
Jocelyn, I'm fairly confident. I could have my info totally skewed here, but Jocelyn managed it, I believe. And so she came over when Donna took over, but I think her plan was only to stay for a little while for like the changeover because she'd only stayed for a while. And Sue was very part-time. Like she only came in and worked like once, maybe twice a month. And so when I started working there, like outside of Kyla bringing me into everybody and Kyla inviting me into friends, like I didn't make friends with a ton of the people aside from when Kyla was kind of pulling me into that until I made friends with Sue. And then I remember when I became friends with Sue, it would have been the first winter I worked there. So I started there in May. So the following winter, she was talking about snowboarding and I was like, oh, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but I mentioned that I liked snowboarding. She was like, are you good at it? And I was like, I've only been a couple times. Like, I'm not that good. And she offered to take me to try to teach me. And we went snowboarding together. I don't remember how many times or how this all played out, but like she was with Randy at the time. And so often it was me and Sue and Randy. And then it'd be like me and Sue and Randy and Jeff and me and Sue and Randy and Jeff and Rick, and like we'd all just go out snowboarding, and I remember like, and so I became friends with all of them, not just through the pub, like meeting at the bars and stuff, but like I said earlier, spending these weekends with them, which because they were all friends with Kyla, then I would also spend all that extra time with Kyla. Right now, I was also drinking a lot in this phase, so my recollection of the details is a little jumbled. So this is the other piece I really want to say is like, I wish I could have told Kyla how much of a difference she made in my life at that period of time. I wish I could have told her how much she meant to me, and because for her, I think for her, it was such a small blip of time that I spent with her that you wouldn't think that you would make that big of an impact in someone's heart in that period of time. You know, Kyla taught me a lot about standing up for myself, a lot about knowing what's important to me, a lot about boundaries, a lot about being firm, about having like all of those things, right? And then on top of that, like I got to spend all this time with Sue and Randy and Jeff and Rick, and Max. Those guys specifically, those 5 specifically, I spent the most time with. And like they're so close to my heart. Like I just, and I was thinking about this today when I was thinking about what would I say about them. And I was like, I think of them like big brothers, obviously not Sue, but I think of them, not because she's a girl. But I think of them like big brothers. And like at the time, I wouldn't think of them that way, but like reflecting back on it, I'm like, that's kind of how it felt. You know, like they were taking care of me and they were, you know, guiding me, and as much as, you know, they were all older than me. Like I was 18. So all of this is pre-meeting AJ, remember. So I started working there, I was 18. So this is I met AJ right before I turned 20. So this is all 18, 19 years old. After that, I still hung out with them, but it was different.
Yeah, of course.
Because I spent way more time with AJ and his friends. So this is in a 2-year time frame that I'm like,
but they also like,
here.
I think like you're right. Like there's formative years, and there's also like, was it your first like major job? Mm-hmm. And also seeing
well, I worked at McDonald's that I was pretty committed to, but that's different.
Okay.
I was in high school. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Your first job that you were like supporting yourself with. And also they saw you through a shitty breakup. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not shitty, like, not that you were hung up on it shitty, but like,
because he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't pretty. Right?
I remember telling one of them, I remember after we broke up and how
I'll never forget
he had shoved me into a table. I didn't tell anybody. And then when I told them, they were like, what? Why the fuck didn't you tell us? We would have beat the shit out of him. And I was like, that's why. That is why. Yeah.
I remember how fired up they all were about that. And they were like, they had eyes.
Yeah.
Like they were watching. And same, like, I always felt like, again, like you put this scenario in any other placement and it would be completely different. I never felt unsafe.
No, God,
like
no.
I could be closing the bar by myself. And I lived in an apartment, I don't know, a block away. And there were times, like, was it a block? Would you even call that a block? I don't even know.
It was probably like 2 blocks.
2 blocks?
There's just,
There were times where yeah, that's true. There were times where I was like, I'm taking a cab tonight. Like, I feel a little sketched out tonight. But, like, I know. No,
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I was like, I would walk back through to
because you walk back to the friggin' golf course with a crazy
past Ranchmans through that dark spot where there's no one. You're just, oh, my light went out. Through that dark spot where there's no one. You're just stuck in this place.
You're nuts. You're nuts.
Stupid? Yeah, stupid.
Maybe that's my age showing.
I was 18 and independent. I could do what I want. Okay. Also, like I had a cell phone, but it was like, you know, I could call and text on it. That was it.
Press the numbers 3 times for the 1 letter. That kind of texting.
Yeah, that one. That was it.
Anyways, but I never felt unsafe because I always felt when they were in the room,
oh yeah,
I was cared for.
Yeah.
I was taken care of. It wouldn't matter. Some crazy would walk in and it would be like, first of all, I have the kahunas now that I can handle this crazy fucker. But if it gets out of hand, there's about 5-7 guys out there that are going to be having my back in an instant. Like, in an instant.
That actually
And
reminds
Donna
me-
too, like, holy, she came to bat for us. Like, she was like,
Oh, yeah.
no, you do not treat my girls like that. Absolutely not.
If someone
that
ever
didn't
said
happen
we
very
did
often.
wrong, like if someone ever like told us off or something, Donna would first and foremost tell them right off. And then she would come back to us and be like, okay, they said this, like what happened? You know what I mean? Like it was like,
Yeah.
if they tried to be like, your waitress is blah, 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 she'd be like, you get the hell out of here. Like you don't talk to my waitresses like that. And then she'd come back and be like, okay, so what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you actually mess up or was this guy just off the rocker? It was never just like taking the customer's word like we were assholes. It was like she's gonna back us and then she's gonna come back and be like, okay, but do you need to be talking to like what happened here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say when I told that story about the bottle throwing, I actually remember that was this was the same time I'm pretty sure is that when that bottle threw, and I remember that like corner seat had like Jeff and Randy and Max and Paul and Rick and Max and all. I don't know why I keep saying Max last. He was like, I was so close to Max, and I have this really beautiful story to tell about Max in a minute. But there was like they were all here, and I remember that bottle threw and Kyla's face came up angry, but like literally that table stood
up.
like it was like instant. That whole table stood up and like they were like starting to leave their chairs and the people just booked it out of the bar. Like it was like, we don't need bouncers. Why?
Wrong place.
This is why we don't need bouncers. Like,
Right?
yeah.
Built-in bouncers.
Yeah. And I remember one time, after that same breakup, for whatever reason, my dad was at the pub, which he didn't really come out very often. It was every once in a while he would come out. And that ex had been like circling the pub and stuff like that. And I remember my dad smokes. And so like, I don't remember what happened, but like, I think Max was out for a smoke and came back in and said so-and-so's outside in his truck. And I was like, okay. And like, and then I must have told the others because it was like he went back out and then Jeff went out and then Randy went out and then my dad went out and then they all came back in at the same time and they were like, he won't come back. Like,
yeah.
what happened? And they were like, oh man. They were like, nothing happened. And I was like, what do
Nothing
you
at
mean
all.
nothing happened? That's bullshit. But they wouldn't tell me what happened.
Do you still not know?
I have no idea.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But like, that's just who they were. They just like, they all just had your back. And I want to say this, like, and this isn't, I'm not saying these things like the other people didn't do wonderful things, but I just have two moments in my head from these two people that I just want to talk about. Well, three, that were like these moments that like shaped me in some way, shape or form. And one of them, the first one was with Rick and we were snowboarding. And Sue, we were at Sunshine specifically. I don't know who was all there. Me and Sue and Randy and Rick for sure. I'm fairly confident Jeff was there. But I don't remember for sure. But what would happen is Sue would take me because I was slower than the boys. She would take me for part of the day and just like ride with me. And then when she was ready to go fast, one of the guys would take me and ride with me and they would all go do their thing. And this turn, it was Rick's turn to take me. And I think it was only like second or third time out with them. So I was still snow plowing a lot. But like I was learning to carve. I knew how to carve, but I was snow plowing a lot. And Rick goes, we're going on Angel. And I was like, which is like the highest chair at the mountain. And I was like, what? He's like, it's fine. You'll be fine. There's blue runs all the way down. And I was like, what? He's like, no, come on. We're getting on. And I was like, okay. So I go with him and as we're riding, he goes, okay, so when we get off, we're going to go right and we're going to follow whatever run. And he said, if I see you snow plowing, I'm going to ride right beside you. If I see you snow plowing, I'm going to push you over. I was like, no. He was like, yeah, don't snow plow. You don't need to anymore. You can carve. No snow plowing. And I remember specifically, so we're going down these runs and we get to this one spot and it was like a steeper incline. And I remember stopping at the top and I was like, can I please snow plow this part? And he was like, fine, you can snow plow this, but you get to the bottom part of this. Because it was just like a short, like 20-foot part of the hill. Oh my
God.
And I was like, ugh, and he was like beside me the whole time, ready to push me over if I snow plowed.
Oh my God.
And it's mean, but he said it laughingly and lovingly. And when I got to the bottom, he was like, yeah, you did it. Like, yeah, good job. Like, he was so jacked. And he's like a dad, right? And sorry, Rick. Sorry. You're older than me enough for me to call you dad. But like, he was just, if he hadn't done that, I would have probably chickened on the runs for a lot longer and snowplowed for a lot longer. And he just showed me what I was capable of with like this minor little threat, you know? So and cool. I'm not saying that I would repeat it, but it was like,
worked.
It was formidable. Like it formed, right?
I love it.
And
I love, can I just jump in for just like a little,
yeah.
I almost fell over today because, you know, you kind of forget some things, then people bring stuff up. And I wish I could have stayed longer today just to sit around and bullshit a little bit and kind of reminisce about stories.
Most of
and
them
stuff,
left
but-
shortly after you anyway, so.
Oh, did they? When Jeff came up and he's like, uh-oh, Rick, because Rick was kind of feeling a little emotional, which, of course, not a judgment. And Jeff comes up and he's like, uh-oh, Rick, do we need to get the Sharpies out? And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot that he used to get so drunk that we would draw on his face with the Sharpie.
I forgot too. I completely forgot.
But he would ask for it. He's like, draw on my face. And he would get the marker. I'm like, this is permanent, Rick. Yeah, do it. Okay. And he would come up, start drawing shit on his face. Like, he asked for it. He wasn't like it was he was passed out and we were drawing on him. He was like, I'm ready. Make me a mustache. Like, I wish I could find those pictures. I mean, oh my God.
I just always see he'd come in and be like, is Dick coming out tonight? Or is it just Rick?
Oh, I forgot.
And be like, oh no, it's a Dick night.
Great, thanks.
For those who need clarification, he did not pull his penis out. He was just ruder jokes. And we'd call him Dick instead of Rick when he was making ruder jokes.
So nice, Rick. He's so sweet. And his mother is about the sweetest person you've ever met in your life. Have you met her?
No, I haven't met her.
Oh, she was there today. She's just about the sweetest person ever. Anyways, oh my gosh.
And then
sorry, Kay,
no,
what's your
that's okay.
second one?
The next one I'm going to say is with Max. And I remember, so it was like after everything was happening with this ex. And I remember there was this one time, and I'm probably going to tell this story, part of the story, at least in our Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But I was walking, well, you know where the Highwood Golf Course was. I walked that route to work every day. And I had to cross that road. And I crossed that road and there was a truck there and I knew it was him, but I didn't look at him. And he was signaling to turn right, but I would have been going to his left. And he decided to go left and he like pulled in front of me and he got out of his car and he was like yelling obscenities at me. And I just kept walking. Like I just walked around his car. He got out of his truck, followed me down followed me down this pathway, yelling obscenities. I don't remember what he was saying, but saying horrible things. And I just wasn't acknowledging him. And the next turn I had to go was down that pathway where there's no way out. Like there's water on one side, fence on the other. And then when you get to this part, it's fence and trees on both sides. You can't go anywhere. You're just stuck in there. And then you cross over and you're like, and it's more open. But I remember just thinking like, please don't follow me down this pathway. Like, please. And I remember thinking like, do I just go straight into the golf course and escape this? Or do I keep walking? And I chose to keep walking. Anyways, he didn't follow me, but he continued to yell at me for a very long time. And again, I don't remember what he was saying, but I was on my way to work and whatever he was saying was hurtful. And I went in and the music shop was right across the street from the pub. And I was supposed to open the pub right away. But the music shop was across the street from the pub and I was good friends with Max and I just needed someone in that moment. And I remember I walked into the music store and I asked, I think it was Kevin who answered. And I said, is Max here? And he goes, yeah, he's just in with a person right now. I'll tell him you're here. And I was like, okay. And I just like waited and his person, he's like, he's gonna be done in like 5 minutes. And I was like, okay. And so I just like waited and I just said like, I'd never done this before. And I just said, can I come in? And he was like, yeah. And I went in and he like closed the blinds and like shut the door. And I told him what happened and I just broke down bawling. And like, he just sat there and like rubbed my back. And I don't even remember if he said anything, but I just like was bawling my face off and he just rubbed. And that like moment, like, I don't know that he said anything, but he just held so much space for me in that moment and just like let me like he's just like, I got tears in my eyes. I'm just so grateful for that moment and for him in that moment because yeah, he just loved me as a friend and just helped me so much. And like, I don't know. I just like, I have such a heart for Max. I just love him because he just is so kind and just took care of me so much in that moment. And in so many other moments, but that was the biggest one, you know. He also took care of me when I drank too much, but like that was different. You know, so I just like, that was this one moment that I was like, he just was there for me. And he's just an amazing person. And I just want him to know, I wish I could tell him. I should have told him today. Like, I hope he hears this. Like, you're incredible and you're so kind and you have such a big heart. And I've said all these years, I hope Max is doing well. Like, I've said that so many times to so many people, because like, you just deserve to do well, and you're just a wonderful human. I know, right? And
I
then
love that.
the last one that I think I remember I was going to say, again, for the people who hear this and they're like, you need to talk about me and we hung out a lot. Like, I don't mean, you guys were great too. I've said a lot of names. These are just the ones that were like really big for me. And, you know, like Sue, like, she just took me under her wing and let me join in her group of friends. And she's even said, like, I don't let people hang out with me that I don't like. And so the fact that, like, she took me under her wing and let me be friends with her friends and, like, let me into her life, like, that was really huge, too, for me at that point in time. But that was, like, more of, like, a general taking than, like, a moment. Mm-hmm. And then the last one, and I don't know if he's never going to remember this. Oh, I have another one, but this one's different. Oh! Okay. I'm going to tell the funny one first, because the funny one's better and the other one's better. Okay, so I'm going to tell this one about Chance. So, Chance.
I was waiting for that. I'm like, we got to talk about Chance.
Oh, Chance. Oh, fuck. Like, first, what was the song that we talked about that he sings all the time? I sent it to you finally. We talked about this on our last Gitters Ganter, and I couldn't remember what it was, and then I sent it to you, and I said, this is the Chance one. Did you just say
Gitters Ganter again?
Gitters Ganter. Yes, I did say Bitters Ganter. You're welcome. I have to find this. Hold on. Wicked game.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Did we find?
No, I didn't find Chance singing that song. But
Chance, if you're listening, put that on YouTube, because we need to hear it again.
I will buy your copy, Chance. If you will record Wicked Game for me, I will buy it. Also, Randy, same to you for Mary Mac. Yeah. We talked about these on the other episode. Anyways, good. I would always ask him to sing that song. But I remember this was early on. Like, obviously this was pre-AJ, so this was again in that first like 1 to 2 years of me being at the pub. I lived, oh gosh, it was in the first year, because I lived by the library. And I moved, so when I first started working there, I lived by the library. And then I moved there, and then I moved out of the library place, not the library. I didn't live at the library. It doesn't matter. Like, it was before I'd worked there for a year. So it was within that first like 8-9 months that this happened. And I remember Chance asked me on a date, he did ask me on a date. And I can't remember if he'd asked his mom for permission first. Like, he might have asked his mom for permission to ask me on a date. And he asked me on a date, and I was like, sure. And it was more like, I don't know, why not? He's fun. Like, this could be fun. I remember Donna said, like, you can go on a date, but you can't date Chance. And I was like, that's fine.
A date, yes. Yeah, dating, absolutely not.
Yeah. She was like, you can go on a date, but you cannot date him. And I was like, that's cool. And we went on this date, and, like, I gotta tell you this date, because it was, like, AJ knows this story. I'm like, I don't want to, like, knock on any of the dates AJ and I went on. But, like, me and AJ, it was the funnest date I have ever gone on. Oh. It was so much fun. So, I gotta tell the story. So, he picked me up in a cab. And he wasn't driving at the time. I can't remember why. Picked me up in a cab and paid the cab to take us to the Longview Steakhouse. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Went to I didn't know where we were going. He just picked me up at my house in this cab, went to the Longview Steakhouse. We went to dinner. We ordered food. And they had like 3 specialty desserts on. And he's like, bring one of each. We'll share them all. And so we just like sat and like tried all the, and we were like, I just remember laughing. It was so much fun. He dropped me off back at home, and like, that was it. It was just this very wholesome, but I just remember, like, to me, that was like, and it sounds so simple and so weird, but like, to me, that was like a proof of how much fun you could have on a dinner date. Because they can be boring if you're with the wrong person, right? But like, totally, how much fun you can have on a dinner date, and how non-sexual a dinner date can be and still be an absolute blast. Like, it was an absolute blast. Like, there was no, like, it was like friends going, and I was so new there, but like, they're just so welcoming, right? So like, he was the same. And so like, having that standard of someone that you can have that much fun with, for something so simple as dinner was like a standard that set for me for like going forward with dating, you know? Okay. And the last
if I'm not going to have Chance Longview Steakhouse level fun, then it's not happening.
Yeah. Basically. And then the last one was Randy, and I have an extra soft spot in my heart for Randy. Like, I really do. And I think it's because he was my really good friend's boyfriend at the time. You know what I mean? So he was just a big brother. Like, he was just genuinely a loving, caring big brother for me. And I remember, gosh, so many in-depth conversations with Randy. Like so many heart conversations with Randy, like, and moments of like linking arms and like skipping down a hall to a bathroom together. Like we'd go to separate bathrooms, but we'd skip down the hall and like just
so much fun.
He's just like, I just love him. And but this one time, it was again after that breakup, and he came to me. He was very drunk, very, very drunk. And I have passed this piece of information on to multiple people. I have said this was one of the best pieces of dating advice somebody ever gave me. And he said it much more eloquently in my mind than I can repeat it. But he said something along the lines of, he said something like, you weren't you when you were with him, like you were a not as happy version of you, or something like that. And then he said, you should never be with somebody who dims your light. You should always be with somebody who makes your light shine brighter. And I remember where I was standing right at the till, and he was standing at that side wall, and he had a glass of Keith's in his hand, and he said that to me, and I was like, holy shit, dude, you're so right. And I carried that with me, and I have passed that on to so many people, because he's absolutely right. If you ever feel like you are not being yourself with someone, you're not with the right person. Yeah. And it was just like one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received. And I like hold that moment so deep inside me. And those are all the people I just wanted to say things about.
Oh, I love this, Sammy. I love it.
I hope they hear this, because I would like to say these things to their faces, but I also think it would come out more jumbled to their faces. It wouldn't be as heartwarming.
I was all nervous today when they were like, we're going to start listening to the podcast. I was like, oh, no, now I'm nervous.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, though, because do you know how many people I have said in my life, this is talking about the community and the collection and the rallying behind other people and cheering other people on, like, I have never told another group of people in the 3 years we've had this podcast, I run a podcast, and that many people have gone, what is it? Let me find it. I'm going to follow you immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Just pure excitement.
Yeah.
That's very Kyla style.
Yeah. And I was like,
yes.
Oh my gosh. I haven't talked to any of you in the last time I saw them, Rory was probably 2. So 3 years. Mm-hmm. I have not spoken a word to a single of them in 3 years, and I saw them that one time, and then I saw them one other time before that, and then again I haven't seen them in years. Yeah. And the second they find out what you're doing, they are like, I want to support you, I want to hear it, let me check it out. And it's if that right there does not speak the community and the support of Kyla and the people that she had around her, I don't know what does. I don't know what does. And I'm not trying to shame the people I know now that haven't listened to our podcast, but that love and support that they all just gave for that. And I didn't mean to bring up the podcast. I wasn't even we have a podcast, but it was
it was very, what are you doing these days? Well, we do this. It's kind of a weird thing to be like, what are you doing these days? Oh, not much. I mean, we're doing it.
Well, and for me, I also came up because I was like, it's so wild. We were just talking about all of you.
It is wild.
It
is wild. We were just going down this memory lane and we didn't know anything was happening.
Mm-hmm. And I wish we were seeing them under better circumstances, but
of course,
it was still really lovely to see them all either way. And
Max today, at some point, Max was like, I have thoughts. I'm like, we're all here for the thoughts. You call us, you come be on the podcast. We're all here for the thoughts.
What do you mean he said he has thoughts?
We were just it was right when I was leaving and I was saying goodbye to everybody. And they all on their phones are like, we're going to check out the podcast. I'm like, I'm a little nervous, but okay. And then Max said something about I'm totally going to check out the podcast because, I have thoughts. And I was like, thoughts you want to come onto the podcast and share? Because we're all in.
I would love to have any one of them or all of them on the podcast and
so cool.
Just talk about Gitter's stories. And it would be really fun.
I also think if we can just for a moment pay homage to the Collison family, because they really are they have been through a fucking hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And the way that they walk through it, I mean, I just think they're such beautiful people, you know, like they've been through so fucking much, and they're just such beautiful people. Like, of all the people that we saw today, that warmth and that welcoming and that feeling of family, it's still there all these years later. And in their grief and in their worst time, and it's still there. And they still, I felt like I could have sat down and chatted with Donna for the rest of the day. Like, I don't, it's still there. I don't have any more eloquence to say about it. I just think that they are a loving, big feeling family. They have such big hearts, and they wear them. I admire them, I guess is what I'm saying. They are welcoming and loving, and Kyla embodied all of that. She was all of that. And their whole family is just, I really do admire them for all that they are.
Yeah. 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 I just want to say how much I love them and the community they made. And I think what a beautiful thing. I wish I had pre-thought of this, and we could have gone down there today and been like, we want to do Gitter's tribute episode. Can we get your number? Would you be on? And we could have gone and asked everybody.
We can still do that.
And don't. Yeah, but like, how would we get a hold of like Kelly and Steve? And that was the other thing I want to say about Gitters. You know, speaking about open mics and everybody being on stage, is like Donna was like, everybody can be on stage. It was never like, you know, the only people that would like, that we had a hard time with being on stage was the people who would never get off stage. But everybody.
Or don't be an asshole.
Or being an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
But like, can you imagine, like, there were times that how many people, like, I would like to know the record for how many people fit onto that stage.
Oh gosh, right?
Pack them in, get it there.
Yeah.
Everybody's running some sort of harmony. Go for it.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Or like, even there were sometimes bands would come in and they would have like, it'd be like an 8-piece band, and they'd show up and we'd be like, this is our stage. And they were like, and we're like, it's fine. Let's move these chairs and tables and one of you can be down here. I don't see the problem. And I remember bands, sometimes like, most of them were like, yeah, cool. But the odd time they'd given you funny looks like, well, I guess we're being paid to be here. We'll just do whatever works, you know? But back to open mics, like anybody could be on stage. And I remember there was one time, I don't sing. But one time they needed a second singer up on stage and I was working, and she like demanded that I came and sang this part. I mean, it was a pretty quiet jam, but she demanded that I come on stage and sing this other part. And I was like, I don't know how to sing. And she was like, yes, you do. Get up on stage and sing. It was like, they just gave you confidence. And I mean, like, that is probably the only time in my life outside of drunken karaoke that I have ever sung in front of people. And even drunken karaoke, I think I usually just lip synced. She made me sing. But yeah, they just like wanted everybody to sing. They wanted everybody to believe that they could do it. It didn't matter if you were good or bad. You could sing. They just made like everybody feel like they could do it. Everybody can do it. And even so much so that if we had a bad waitress, it would take Donna a long time to be like, yeah, she's got to go. Because she just really wanted to give her a chance. She just really wanted to give everyone the best chance
really
possible.
Great. Because that's a really hard job to just walk into and nail it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think when I left, I was pretty good. I think I was damn good at that job when I left it. But the first day, holy fuck. I don't know. Service plus staying up. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I remember we were cashing out and I actually went to the bathroom because I literally thought I was going to throw up. I was like, this is not good. And then, you know, like, it just becomes second nature. Like, becomes like, oh, it's only 10 o'clock at night. God, it's early still. It's too early for the big rush right now. Now I'm like, it's 10. I gotta go to bed. It's perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I feel like I have so many more things to say, but I don't know what else to say. It was so great.
I would love to sit and have a round table with a bunch of them.
Yeah,
we're gonna
put this call out on for right now. if you hear this and you're part of the Gitters crew, it doesn't mean we've mentioned you. Maybe you were part of the Gitters crew and we haven't mentioned you. Send an email to thehappysoulpodcast@gmail.com, thehappysoul.podcast@gmail.com, and tell us that you would like to do an episode on Gitters reminiscing, and we would love to have you. That's what I'm gonna say.
It'd be so fun.
It would be so fun. And there's so many people we didn't mention. So like,
I
hope that nobody's like, oh my God, they didn't talk about me. I was in there every day. I could go off of a lot of people, but I'll be honest with you. A lot of you might get the names by the beer you drank.
I remember, I want to say one more thing, because I remember like anytime we started to date someone, how protective people were, and like how like it was like, it must have been very intimidating for somebody to come into that scenario, because it was like, you're not just meeting somebody's protective family, you're meeting like all of these people. Like I remember Charlotte grilling people and being like, so you're going to treat our girl nice, right? Like, because we're all going to kick your ass if you don't. Like, remember like they did not go easy on people. You're not just gonna come in here and think you're gonna start dating one of us without some serious grilling.
I was gonna say it's because the boys all wanted to sleep with you, so they wanted to make sure they were trying to scare anybody off. But then you said Charlotte. And I was like, yeah, okay, Charlotte, all right.
Oh, she was very protective. She was like, mm-mm.
Donna, we love you. Kyla, we love you. Gitters, you are big in our hearts. All of those who were Gitters regulars, you are also in our hearts. You were part of the whole experience. I know we said a few names today, but they were just people that we maybe they're just the ones that came to mind. It doesn't mean that the other people weren't important. Mm-hmm. There's lots of you I can think of in little moments. They're just harder to explain.
Chance, Deanna.
Chance, Deanna.
Tom.
Tim, Tom, Dean. I don't know what got so excited to say Dean there, but
because we love Dean. Because we love Dean.
Yeah, we do love Dean. All of them. They all made it. And
so special.
Yeah, they're so special. They made it so incredibly special. And yeah, like it's honestly like I wish I had the words to really, like I've said this before, to really just encapsulate the incredibleness that was these people and Gitters. I just don't think I have the words, except for the last hour and a half that I just said. All right. Thank you so much, Melissa. I am like this, like I said at the beginning, this episode is in honor of Kyla and her memory. But it's also, we want to honor Donna and Gitters and everything that they brought to the world, to High River. They brought so much to High River and the community. I know that we're not alone in the stories of Gitters and the people that impacted us, and other people have different stories and different people on different nights, but I know that we're not alone. I know that, like feeling emotions, I have feelings. I know that so many people could get on here and tell incredible stories about the way that Donna, Kyla, Chance, Deanna, their family made an impact for them, the way that Gitters changed something in their life for them, the way that somebody at Gitters changed something in their life for them, the way that just being a part of Gitters changed something in their life for them. Like I know that. I know that like hundreds of people could come and say that, because we had so many people that were regulars. They just came on different nights. Yeah, just thank you so much. I wish I have more words than thank you, but we just love you and will always, even if we don't say it enough or see you often enough.
This is a song I wrote about my mom and our family and how we all learned how to play guitar. It's my mom and me sitting in the kitchen playing guitars and naming what we want our band to be. As you sing in harmony, 'cause in Mama's kitchen we sing in harmony. It's my grandpa and me sitting in the kitchen It's my daddy and me sitting in the kitchen playing guitars. I knew then what I wanted to be. How wild and free could you imitate so damn naturally. 'Cause in Mama's kitchen I know he'll always be. 'Cause in Mama's kitchen we sing in harmony. So grab a seat and sit on down, 'cause friends are welcome when they come around. Sing along if you know the songs to the guitar picking of the old country song all night long. It's my mama and me sitting in the kitchen playing guitars, naming what we want our band to be, as we sing in harmony. 'Cause in Mama's kitchen we sing in harmony.